Hello, welcome to day 25, Diary of a Multifaceted Mama. I been reflecting a lot today, and some of what I've been reflecting on has been really emotional. One of my sons is gonna be 10 in less than a week. And he is my child who his pregnancy was unplanned. Didn't know that I was pregnant initially, and was surprised when I was. Wasn't surprised when I was with any of the other ones, although my first child was also unplanned. But I wasn't surprised when I was pregnant with her. I was surprised when I was pregnant, when I found out I was pregnant with my first son. And he came, I was leaking amniotic fluid, so he came early. He came 6 weeks early, and he was in the NICU for 2.5 weeks. And I was just itching to bring him home, so much so that they would have preferred, actually, that he stayed in the NICU. And so I had to commit to having him on a sleep apnea monitor in order to have him come home with us on that I think it was the 16th or 17th day of his stay there, when all he really needed left was just to be monitored with that sleep apnea machine. And they said, if you're going to monitor on that, then you can take him. And I was like, yes, I want to bring my baby home. And now he's almost 10. Just thinking about, it's been a decade. It's been a decade since he came into this world, and how much has changed, also how much is similar. And as I was thinking about that, I also started thinking about my oldest, my daughter, my first daughter, and how she's a teenager now. And how since we've moved, she's been having to deal with more and more overt racism in the area that we live in within the schools, about how more school shootings have been happening, and she's been exposed to those through conversations in the hallways with peers and on the news, just, online. And how she shared with me recently about some teens luring another teen, pretending to be a friend, and then ultimately doing her physical harm on purpose. And all of the worry and fear that comes along with that in her rapidly developing adolescent brain, and how there's nothing I can do to change that. I can't change any of those systemic issues single-handedly. And yet I know that they impact her. And that's just the systemic stuff, right? Like, that doesn't even speak to all of the individual stuff that any teen might be navigating. Maybe it's medical stuff, maybe it's family stuff, maybe it's, like my daughter, we recently moved, so just navigating a new school in a new area and trying to find new friends, and your developing body because you're going through puberty and all of those things. The stats are pretty astounding. The age group of adolescents, teenagers, they are the age group with the highest levels of stress, and have been for a little while now. And us parents, who are the ones to support them, who want to support them as they're navigating the stressors of life, as they're figuring out who they are and who they want to be in this world. And my heart hurts for my daughter and for other adolescents who live in a state of worry, or worry just too much, feel anxiety too much, as their rapidly developing brains are doing so, they're rapidly developing in this place of like a lot of stress. And we know research shows us how that it affects the brain. But as I was thinking about this, I reminded myself of what I do have a say over, what I do have powerful influence over, what I can do something about, which research also supports as being one of the most, if not the most, impactful thing in helping our kids, our teens, to develop healthier. And that is a social support, emotional support. It's not about bubbling our kids, our teens, from all of the stresses and challenges in life, because life is going to have stressors and challenges as adults too, right? We have to learn how to navigate that. But what really impacts them and provides a buffer the most is how we show up, how the people in their lives show up in response to those stressful things, in response to those traumatic things, in response to those challenges that they're navigating. And when I think about that, that's where I feel most hopeful. That's where I feel most connected to my faith and my sense of self and my sense of power is what I can do as her mom. And when I say faith, I'm not talking about religion or anything. I'm talking about like me having faith in and belief in knowing that we can move through this. We are meant for more. I can learn and do better and practice trying to show up as best I can. And sometimes it's going to be hard, and sometimes there's going to be uncertainty. But in the basis of it all, wellness is a possibility. Having faith that there's possibilities for better. There's possibilities for revolution. And I do believe that we're living in revolutionary times when we are being called to revolutionize the fundamental challenges that are affecting the stress levels of our youth, our children, ourselves. And these reflections that I have been having this morning tie directly into the passion and purpose I feel around like having this movement of owning that we are all multifaceted, living in this world where there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of hurting people, and we can't control that. We can't control other people, and thank goodness for that, because I wouldn't want other people controlling me. But we can contribute to the change of that by starting with us, right? Like by starting with ourselves, by starting with, how do I really value showing up as mom? How do I really value showing up as me? How do I really value showing up as partner, as wife, as husband? How do I really value showing up within these relationships and within this world? Because when I'm really clear on that, then I can be really intentional about showing up that way. And now my brain, my nervous system is going to be able to regulate better and is going to be able to really help me be more clear about how I want to navigate these situations. And when I do that, I'm providing the best gift that I can give my teen daughter and my other kids, of course, too, as they navigate the challenges that they navigate in life. And that's to be compassionate and caring and loving, but also grounded and clear and with faith. And to be in that place, to embrace that stance, to embody that as I show up for them. And to keep trying to come back to that as best I can, as often as I can. Because me being in a reactive place, now I'm human, right? So I'll get frustrated and I'll feel anger and I'll feel, I'll feel all of the spectrum of emotions. We need to feel that, right? But when it comes to me really wanting to take the next step, to make a decision, to speak, in response to my teen or my kids, I want to get myself in a place, what I call a core connected place, where I'm really clear on how I want to be as I'm navigating that. And that might mean if I'm frustrated or angry or whatever the case is, that I need to step away first before having those conversations. But that I can regulate my emotions in a healthy way and demonstrate how to come back to regulating my emotions in a healthy way when I'm feeling dysregulated, so that my kids can see that model, so that my kids can see how to do that in a healthy way, so that my kids can feel safe in expressing their emotions without fear of my reaction. That's how we create a healthier, happier, more harmonious movement forward for our society and for generations to come, while also still embracing the diversity of it all, right? And that we are all different. And that's a good thing. We all need to bring different things to the table in order for us to really complement one another and create new innovative things. But if we just focus as parents on the hardship or the stress or the anger or the shame or the blame or frustration that comes up when our kids are going through things, especially our teens going through things, if we just focus on all of the challenge of that, we really can feel so limited and we can feel so stressed out and overwhelmed or angry ourselves and become bitter and resentful and then act from that place. And when we react from that place of anger or bitterness, we're adding to the anger and the bitterness, right? Instead, feel angry, feel bitter, right? Like, feel however you feel. Like, I need to feel however I feel. I definitely had some tears in my eyes this morning as I was reflecting about this. But let's not make our decisions from all of our decisions. Let's not make all of our decisions from that place, right? Like, let's be aware of where we're at emotionally. Let's know how to tend to that. Let's teach our kids and our teens how to tend to that. And then make our decisions and move forward as individuals and families and communities and systems. Let's move forward making those decisions from a more core connected place. I think these are such important conversations to have, rather than all the arguing, all of the division that we've been having politically for what feels like a really long time at this point. If we can come back to this, to how we value showing up within our core, at our core, and keep trying to come back to that and show up in that way as best we can, even and especially amidst the really challenging times. That is when our nervous system and our brains are going to help us, and our faith, our spirituality, our connection to our source is going to be most apt to help us take the next best step in that moment. Say the next best thing or not, right? Maybe the next thing is like not to take an action, but to sit with our teen in it, to just be with them in it at that moment, because that's what they need. And that's what we're able to offer. There's no one right answer. If you're out there, you're navigating, trying to support your teen through a really hard time, whether you're getting really frustrated with your teen or you're really frustrated with the things and people that are causing your teen stress or contributing to the stress of your teen, whatever the case might be for you. There's not one clear-cut answer, like this is it. This is the one thing that's going to fix everything. But there is always faith and focus and the freedom to choose if we're going to lean into that. You know? I'm going to keep leaning into that. Maybe you will too. See you next time.